Hello all, dzień dobry. Look at those works of art. E.T., Les Miserables, Victor Hugo's masterpiece, Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator. We see them all as masterpieces. But why? Is it because they're action-packed? Of course not. Maybe because they offer suspenseful plots with many twists? Yes, but to a certain extent only. Because they are fun? Not necessarily. They are masterpieces because they talk to us. They talk about our inner desire, what we hope for, what we reject. That's why we pay so much attention to masterpieces, because they talk about things that deeply concern us. To make a long story short, they talk about our search for personal happiness. Masterpieces also talk about values, ethics. We all know that values are important. They are the unspoken rules that guide communities. And unconsciously, we think that we could achieve personal happiness if the world is guided by values we believe in. And authors of masterpieces are telling us one thing. Such a more beautiful world is possible. But how to achieve it? Masterpieces are written to show that good decisions and proper actions, even at the individual level, can steer the world in the right direction. They also show us how wrong decisions can lead to misery. Authors of masterpieces, through their works, want to alter our behaviors. They want to change our misconceptions. They want to erase our ignorances. In short, they want us to think. And this is why we see them as masterpieces, because they give us hope for a better life and they tell us how it could be achieved. And I believe similar masterpieces will emerge in our industry. Games with a meaning, games with depth, games that make you think. My name is Pascal Luban. I'm a creative director and game designer. I work as a freelance, and I started working in the game industry nearly 26 years ago. The first AAA game I worked on as lead game designer was Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. Then I worked as lead level designer on the multiplayer version of 2 Splinter Cell games, and I was creative director on Wanted Weapons of Fate. Eventually, the market changed focus, and most of my clients asked me to work on mobile games. So for a good 10 years, I worked essentially on mobile games, either as designer or consultant. Of course, during that period, I still did work on a few console titles as well. Activision commissioned me to work as game and level design consultant on 3 hunting games. Those games were developed by Fun Labs in Romania. And more recently, I was design consultant on Vigor, the shoot and loot titles developed by Bohemia Interactive. Now, let's get back to games that make you think. Now, am I dreaming? Do I fantasize? No. Actually, such games already exist. And I believe they are the forerunner of games that will make you think. And I will show you 2 examples. First, I'll talk about This War of Mine. This War of Mine was developed and published by 11-Bit Studios. The game is about the survival of a group of civilians trapped in a modern city under siege. Sounds familiar? It does. Recent history has shown it can happen nearly next door. Think of the siege of Sarajevo and more recently Alep in Syria. The game offers a strong gameplay, mixing management and stealth. Let's take a look now at the trailer.
Food. I lived through hell with these people. We were a group. We would do anything to stay alive. I will never forget those days. Things you see in war stay with you forever.
A kiedy przyjdzie także po mnie zegarmistrz światła purpurowy, by mi zawełnać błękit w głowie, to będę jasny i gotowy. Spłyną przede mnie dni na przestrzał, zgasną podłogi i powietrza. Na wszystko jeszcze raz popatrzę. Pójdę, nie wiem gdzie na zawsze.
An exceptional game. Now, what is this game telling us? First, it is showing us the horrors that civilians have to endure during a war. Remember, we're in an industry where many of our products tend to make commonplace of war, if not to glorify it. By showing the dark side of war, this game is already making a strong statement. But the game goes further. A movie or a documentary could show us the same things, but a game offers a different perspective. It turns us into actors of the drama and put us in situations where we have to make decisions, dramatic decisions. For instance, if one member in your party falls sick, what decisions will you take when you find medicine in a house occupied by a couple of elderly people? Will you rob them? Will you kill them? Or will you simply turn away? And it is because you have to take these type of decisions, because you are facing dramatic situations, that you develop a much stronger involvement and understanding of the drama. As a result, you develop empathy toward the protagonist of the drama. And what are the benefits of generating empathy toward game's characters? First, the game becomes the carrier of the message, exactly like a true masterpiece. Second, it creates a stronger player experience because it generates emotions that will move you. This War of Mine succeeds in offering great gameplay and in making you think about what trapped civilians have to endure in a war. Let's take a look now at another example in a different genre. The Last of Us Part 2. That's a heavy one. As you know, it is the sequel to The Last of Us. The Last of Us Part 2 is a recent game, and some of you might not have played it yet, so I will not spoil you. However, we'll start by talking about Last of Us, the first game. It's a horror survival game taking place in a contemporary environment. Some sort of plague has turned most people into monsters, and what is left of mankind survives in 45 compounds. Outside those, the world is totally hostile. The main characters are Ellie, a young girl who seems to be the only person immune to infection, and Joel, some sort of mercenary who gets the mission to escort Ellie to a group of people called the Fireflies. The Fireflies believe they can use Ellie's ability in order to develop a vaccine. Nearly all the game depicts this journey through dangerous lands, fighting either monsters or bandits. This game is memorable because you build empathy toward the two main characters. Not only you understand their feelings, but you end up feeling the same emotions, the same fondness they feel toward each other, the same anguish also. I will not say more because I don't want to spoil the game for you. But now let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2. This one takes place right after the end of the previous game. I won't give you any detail, but let me tell you why I found this game exceptional. The plot itself is very conventional. To a large extent, it is written to support the level design. But the authors wanted to pass a message that is built in the storyline, in the script. This message is the following one. Revenge consumes you, forgiveness gives you freedom. You see, many games or movies talk about people, communities, or nations fighting one another for a simple reason: revenge. By doing so, they carry the idea that revenge is natural, that revenge is a natural thing to do. But The Last of Us Part 2 is different. It makes you realize that revenge could be the wrong thing to do. And because of a unique narrative twist I will not detail now, you leave that message like a pain in your heart. This game made me think, and I think it did the same to millions of people. Now, if you want to design games that make players think, we need to draw inspiration from authors of masterpieces. To make us think, they must communicate with us. They must make us receptive to their ideas. And to do so, they use a universal language: emotions. Emotion is a language that is more effective than words to convey ideas, to describe the reality of a given situation, to share the drama. It is because we respond to a story with emotions that we internalize the message of the author. To build a masterpiece, you must generate strong emotions. And I believe we will see more games that generate strong emotions. I'm not talking of games that rely entirely on storytelling, games that offer little gameplay such as visual novels or so-called walking simulators. I'm talking of games with real gameplays that mainstream gamers enjoy. And I believe we will see more and more games featuring real gameplay that will be designed to generate strong emotions as well. I believe they represent a future path of development for the game industry. And several forces will push in that direction. First, the growing weight of so-called mature players. Gamers that were 20 years old 20 years ago are now 40. They have families and they are more aware of the world around them. They will naturally be attracted by games with characters they can believe in, games with situations, drama they can relate to, games where they feel empathy toward their characters. Second, publishers and studios will realize that quality storytelling improves the game experience and therefore improves the commercial potential of what they publish. And last, the game industry will give rise to creative directors and game designers that just want to express themselves, like in any other media: books, plays, movies, so on. So, how to create a game that will move your audience? First, you need to find a theme you want to talk about, a message you want to convey to your audience. This theme has to move you. If it doesn't move you from the emotional point of view, it will not move others. Second, like for any other game, define its key components: its core gameplay, the game modes, the business model, the USP, and so on. This is for us business as usual. Third, start working on the three main components of good storytelling. Now, what are they? First, the script. The script is the unfolding of the story. The second components are the characters, in particular, the hero, the main one. And the third core component for good storytelling is the environment. That is the time, location, or special context where the script takes place. Let's briefly talk about the script. As I said, the script tells you what happens in the story. But a good script is not a succession of action scenes. Now, this is a common mistake. A good story, a good script, is built around the challenges the main character is facing and how he or she copes with them. As a reminder, a good script is built around 4 stages. The early stage shows the main character in a routine situation. Life goes by as usual. This stage is usually very short. Then something happens and pushes the main character into a dramatic situation. We are now in the heart of the drama. This is stage 3. The main character struggles to cope with the situation. And actually, stage 3 should make up the bulk of the script. This is where most of the story should take place. Finally, the main character will emerge out of the drama and enter a new peaceful situation. But the main character's values or understanding of the world might have changed. And this concludes the good script. This is stage 4. Now, of course, there are plenty of exceptions to this 4 stages template, but keeping it in mind is a good starting point to write a good script, and most importantly, to avoid writing bad ones. Let's talk now about the characters, the second component of good storytelling. Characters include the hero, the bad guy when there's one, and secondary characters. Today, I will just focus on the main character, the hero. Modern heroes have flaws. They can even be bad guys. Think of Tom Cruise in The War of the World. But what makes them a hero is that they do the right things and they defend values we believe in. They also have charisma. They end up being leaders we want to follow. Finally, let's talk briefly about the environment. The environment is a stage where the script takes place. It can be a location, for instance, the city of New York. It could be a period in history, like the Italian Renaissance, or major events, a major historical event, like the fall of Constantinople in 1453. It can also be a group of people, like the member of a sect. The goal of the environment is to support the drama of the script. In other words, the environment is not a simple backdrop. It has a purpose. For instance, if my script is about a group of passengers that survive the crash of their plane, a mountain environment will make their situation more dramatic than a tropical island. I think you get the point. So let's return now to the steps to follow if you want to design a game that will generate emotion. This is now step 4, where you need to work on the overall credibility of your environment, characters, and script. Here, don't attempt to be too realistic, but try to be credible. There's of course much more to say about writing good storytelling for games, but this is not the purpose of my talk. So I will go for my conclusion now. I believe that the tools used by authors of masterpieces can help us make better games. Well-defined characters, meaningful scripts, quality environments. Those tools can be adapted to game storytelling. But we're also citizens. We all belong to communities. Our family, our town, our country or group of countries, mankind. This is a big community. And what we say in our games can contribute to those communities because, like any other media, we have the power to shape people's opinion. Also, I would like to remind you that engaging players to think is not limited to the promotion of positive value. It is also about fighting what I call toxic ideas. We've got on screen a few of those. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you found this talk inspiring. I publish a blog on gamasutra.com on a regular basis. So if you want to be kept informed on my latest publication, follow me on Twitter. I reassure you, I will not spam you with meaningless content. Thanks again.